Hello again to Mitch's Rant Time. This is the continuation of last video. So, I'm going to talk and hopefully you'll listen. As always, I do use vulgar language, but you know that from last video. So anyway, gotta take a breath. Um, I've been talking to people about minimum wage. Been talking to them about, well, are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? How the fuck are we going to adjust for this fucking debacle you're going to create with raising minimum wage? And people say, "Oh, well, I've considered that, or I know that, or I don't know, or we've got to stop greed." Okay, then you can't stop greed. You can't do anything about greed. No matter if you're in a capitalist society, a socialist society, or a communist society, or anything else, you can't do anything about greed. And this is the appeal to emotion I talked about in the last video. You cannot do anything about greed. Why? Because greed isn't a concept you can fucking enforce on. You can't say, "Oh, you're being greedy." Well, how do you know that? How do you know me taking something that I feel I earned, maybe me keeping something I feel I earned, is greedy? Is it greedy for me working? Here's the biggest thing I give you. A minimum wage worker who just got paid and a homeless man are sitting next to each other. The minimum wage worker, almost all of his money is going to go to bills and resources. He has $10 left after his paycheck. The homeless person says, "Could you spare a dollar?" The minimum wage person wants to keep that to save. He wants to better himself. Is he greedy for keeping the money? No, because he wants to better himself. He worked hard for that money. He's not greedy for keeping the money. Sure, it's sad the homeless man doesn't get help, but there are other people who could help him. There are probably a million other people in that fucking county alone who make enough money to help the fucking homeless man. Wow, why can't the minimum wage person go to the church and say, "Hey, this homeless man needs help"? Pretty sure the church would be more than happy to fucking help. Here's the thing. That's it. Greed. But we interpret it differently. The homeless man thinks that the minimum wage person is greedy. Even the minimum wage person will probably think, he's like, fuck, I'm being greedy. He's going to feel bad. But he shouldn't. He worked hard for that. He did work hard to earn that money. So why should he feel bad? He shouldn't. But we try to say, "Oh, you're greedy. You're greedy, you're greedy, you're greedy. If you don't want to give more, if you don't want to build people up, you're not greedy if you don't want to give what you feel you've worked hard for." It's not greedy for me not want to give up my phone to someone I feel I work hard to pay for it. It's not greedy for me to not want to give up my car to someone because I feel I worked hard and paid for it, or I've earned it, or I've earned the gas at least that's in it, if it's not fully paid off. So, greed, it's all relative. Like morality, it's relative. But greed, too, you can't enforce. You really think the police should go around and enforce greed? Say, "Oh, you're greedy, we're arresting you." For what? Greed. No, there's nothing you can do about greed. Yes, it is terrible, but part of it is what keeps the economy going. Because that selfishness, that greed that we like to talk about, is what gets people employed, is what keeps people working, is what drives us to buy things. That greed is what drives us to invest. Now, there are people who are actually greedy and will do whatever they can to make another dollar, regardless of who they hurt. People like fucking Donald Trump do that. A lot of very large corporations, a lot of people who like the Koch brothers and stuff like that, they are actually fucking greedy. But what can you do to enforce that? You can set up certain laws that might keep them from donating to politics or donating a lot to politics, or keep them from bankrupting businesses multiple times and not having to face the consequences for it. But other than that, what can you do? You can tax them, but you continuously tax them, they're going to find loopholes, because those who want to tax them are also guilty enough to want to say, "Well, I feel bad for taxing them, let's give them a loophole." Do away with the loophole. But yeah, we go to agree. The other emotional thing is they say it's a living wage. They need to live. They need to. You can't be a minimum wage worker and try and better yourself. Well, that's great. You want to do an appeal to emotion. Say, "Oh, I can't survive on $9 an hour or $7 an hour or whatever." Okay, then what about the person who is making $14 an hour? They've been at their job for about a year and a half. They got educated. They went through the entire education, 4.5, 5 years of getting educated. They have a debt that they're working to pay. They're working their asses off to get ahead, and you're saying, nope, you don't get to get ahead. You take it away from them, put them back in minimum wage. You say, oh, but we're giving them a raise. No, you're not. It's minimum wage. You're setting them at the same bar because you're valuing their work the same as someone who didn't go to school, who just got out of high school, who isn't trying to improve themselves, who isn't looking, who maybe is trying to go through college or just kind of doing a side job. You're saying that you value their work, what they do, equally to that. Now, a lot of you will say, oh, well, you're saying that the person who's working at McDonald's is worthless? No, the person at McDonald's is not worthless. If they were worthless, we wouldn't be paying them. Hell, you know what I think? Why not have it to where any business that serves food can have tips? How about this? Don't fucking tax tips. There you go. That's the thing. I'm going to start going over now things that I think would help the people struggling who are on minimum wage. Because so many people are trying to push their own fucking ideas. They're pushing this thing. They're using appeals to emotion, not using any fucking intelligence. Thing number one, like I said, stop taxing tips. No more taxation on tips. No more federal income tax on tips at all. You can survive on your tips. I know people who make more in tips an hour than they do in actual fucking pay. And they do good. They can survive good. When I used to work at a restaurant, I used to work pizza, delivering pizza. I was living fine on tips because my tips bumped me up to probably $15, $16 an hour. I was getting paid more. And typically, my tips were things I earned. Why? Because I showed up on time. Because I had a big smile. Because I made the experience pleasant. I earned the tips. My fiance, she's worked pizza. She's earned tips. She are better earned tips than me. Why? Because she's more pleasant than I am. And she's better looking. She doesn't have this ugly neck beard thing like I do. But that's the thing. You can actually earn it. Tips are a way for us to earn extra value. Don't fucking tax it. Don't take it away from us. There you go. There's one idea already that's better than fucking raising it to minimum wage. Why? Because tips raise their wages, and we're not taking anything away from them. Why? Because they need it. How many times do you hear people say that waitresses and servers live on tips? Exactly. Stop taxing it, motherfucker. Number two. I'm sorry. I watched some Cult of Dusty. Number two is give teeth to workers to form unions. Stop this union busting. Why? Why do I go over this? Well, one, conservatives like idiot Scott Walker like to bust unions. Why? Because, well, unions are guilty of the same thing churches and mega corporations are, giving money to politicians and buying them fuckers off. I can have a fix to that. Make it to where, unless you can vote in an election, you can't donate money. Boom! Takes care of the free speech thing altogether. Because unless you want to say, make a fucking amendment. I don't give a shit. Make a law, make an amendment. People want to sue, you say, no, that makes sense. Your right to vote should be what gives you that right. Your right to vote gives you that. If you are naturalized in this nation or born in this nation, you're a citizen, you have a right to vote. Whether you're from Africa or Mexico or from fucking Atlanta, you had the right to vote. So you get to donate money to a politician. Why? Because you want to vote for them. You want to be able to make sure you're voting for them. You want to make sure that your friends can hear about them so you all can talk about them and vote for them. That makes sense. Why should corporations be doing that? So one, we've taken care of that. No more busting of unions. Now, unions themselves. People are like, oh, the thing is in discussion, people are like, oh, Denmark has like a $17 an hour minimum wage or $16 an hour. Norway has like a $20 an hour minimum wage. I may have flipped them on accident, but most Nordic countries have high minimum wages. Well, guess what? They don't have a fucking minimum wage. They don't have a legally established minimum wage. You know what they have? Good fucking unions with good fucking protections on rights of workers to negotiate and to discuss and to make deals. Damn it, I forgot the word. To barter and bargain for their work, for their compensation for what they do, the value of their work. We should have that. Get unionized again. And not these mega unions that donate to fucking politicians. Stop that. That's not where your money should go. Unions should go to protecting the union, to keeping the union representatives on their toes, to make sure that they are happy. To pay for union lawyers to go to court, to pay for themselves to have barbecues, and to keep the employees happy. Because, as I always think, a happy employee is a happy customer. And that is fucking true. Happy employees are happy customers. Come on. Who do you want to go to? Who do you think is going to bust their ass to actually help someone? Someone who's having a shitty day and kind of hunched over, just wants to get their job done? Or someone who actually feels like, you know what, I like working here. I'm glad to work here. Oh, you need me to lift that heavy thing? Good fucking for you. You know what I mean? Sorry. But I mean, Think about that. Get back into that. Get back into protecting it. Instead of having the federal government be our union, allow us to be unionize ourselves again. We need that back. And that's the thing. That's why I get pissed off at progressives. The Democrat Party used to be the Union Party. What the fuck are they doing now? They're stupid. The Republicans, too, are the party of the middle class. Bull fucking shit. I don't know what they really are, but come on. That's what we should be doing. Doing that. And here's another thing, too. Another thing. Number 3. What a lot of people bring up. And this is something I can attest. It's fucking true. There are a lot of gaps between the middle class and the working poor. You know, the working class, I like to call people who are, and it's the people who are, you know, or actually between the poor, those who are, you know, currently on assistance, aren't really working, trying to find work, but aren't really working. And a lot of times those people are actually trying to find legitimate fucking work or on disability or whatever. People who pretty much who are not taking care of themselves, whether it's by their own hand, by fate, whatever you want to call it, people who just have to rely on the system, and the people who are working for themselves and making a decent money and still keeping the economy going that way. It's kind of those who are on the government dole and those who are making their own way. In between them, I like to call the working poor. Now, the working poor are that gap where they're not making enough to really survive, not living wage, but they're also not they're making too much to get help. They might occasionally get Medicare or maybe a cheaper student loan, or maybe they might get $50 a month in food stamps for a few months, and then they end up working an extra 5 hours this week and they lose it for 6 months and then they can get it back. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what you've got, but that's it. Let's fix that. Let's tweak that. Let's raise that window a bit and help more people out. Let's change it. Let's include more people who are struggling. Let's help the people who are struggling. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what liberals are supposed to do, right? Progressives and conservatives, the Christians. Why don't you fucking help again? Didn't Jesus say help the poor? Wasn't that the whole thing? Help the poor? The Pope seems to be talking about too. I know a lot of conservatives think the Pope's the Antichrist, which is fucking stupid. Never mind. But I mean, come on. Help. Do that. Let's be smart. Let's help these people out. And then another thing too, and this is something that I think conservatives have talked about, this is group thing number 4, changing the tax code. Let's lower taxes on the poor. We've already talked about taking taxes off of fucking tips. Wow, I am not with it today. Taking taxes off of tips. Let's lower taxes on the poor altogether. We can maybe even change the tax code to where it's not so progressive, it's not so big, there aren't so big gaps, like 15 to fucking 25 from 17,000 to 35 or 17,000 to 25,000. Big fucking gaps. But we'll make it to where your income gap is lower. Your charge lower. Your tax lower. But not only that, you have a base tax, and then the more deductions you have, the less you get taxed. Yeah, maybe we'll do away with giving money back, but you don't get taxed much. You keep your money. Get to keep your money. Get to keep your tips. Get to keep your money. And further than that, I want to go another step further. Number 5, let's add some assistance programs. Let's change it up. Now, a lot of people aren't going to like this, and this is a big thing. The Affordable Care Act. I think we need to change it completely. We need to scrap most of it, and we need to change it. What it should be, well, of course, I think Medicare should be expanded a bit to where it is. Medicare, included with welfare and everything else, should be expanded to include that sort of gap of the working poor. But Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, gone. Keep a few things. One, no one can be denied for a pre-existing condition, and have it to where no one can be punished cruelly or whatever. Maybe have a gap of, percentage of no one can be charged more than 50% more of the typical rate of the rate they would get if they didn't have the pre-existing condition. They cannot be charged more than 50% or whatever. Have something that's fair. That's a protection. Just like minimum wage. It's a fucking protection. It's a safety net protection. Making sure they aren't price gouged. All right, there you go. Then you make it to where every year we allot, everyone gets, based on your Social Security, we have a lot of shit tied to your Social Security. You get maybe 2 regular checkups, clinical checkups. You get a physical, free physical. You get all of your preventative checkups, family checkup, mammograms and colonoscopies and all that shit. You get all of those throughout your life. And you get emergency room visits covered by the state. Emergency room visits. But you're going to have less emergency room visits because you're going to have more clinical visits. And people are going to be able to have their actual insurance go to clinical visits, go to visiting the pharmacy, go to paying for actual medicines and shit. So we're actually going to make a better system. It's going to become a cheaper system. That's part of it. Why a lot of poor people, I know a lot of poor people. I'm fucking poor. We go to the emergency room because we can't afford to go to the clinic. The emergency room is thousands of dollars just to find out you have a cold. Help out right there. That helps out. That helps out. Okay then. Boom. So we fixed the abomination of Obamacare. And yeah, I don't fucking like it. It's fucking stupid. It's got gaps and everything. It's ridiculous. There are a lot of progressives who don't like Obamacare because it's fucking ridiculous. So what happens when you don't read something and you fucking pass it. It's stupid. But next thing in this idea of things. So we have assistance in food, assistance in regular purchases, assistance in medical, health insurance, assistance in housing, Section 8. Why not assistance in fuel? Yeah, we have public transportation, but a $50 gas card to those who are struggling that's going to be valid at certain gas stations wouldn't be a bad idea. $25 gas card. Something that just helps them to get a job, to get to the job, to get them over the hump when they're struggling. Not enough to make it to where they're doing just as good as the middle class, but to where they're not falling behind every day. It's an idea. A little progressive, sure, but it's an idea. Why not? Just an idea. But yeah. That's that. Any other ideas that I fucking had? I was on a roll for a bit. But that's it. That's those are like 5 or 6 ideas of things that can be done to help. Things that can be done to really make it easier on the poor. Lowering their taxes. And I think people say, "Oh, we're lowering their taxes and increasing in spending. What do we do?" Well, how do you react to that? You have to make cuts, obviously. Pull out of the Middle East, end the drug war, legalize some drugs, cut some of your gun laws, allow people to not have such a heavily regulated gun market, lower some of your other regulations that we have, enforce tariffs, such as maybe I would honestly do away with the payroll tax. I would maintain the payroll tax for any American business that outsources unoutsourced employees. However many outsourced employees you have, outsourcing tax. That would be fair. Um, Maybe levy a 1% federal sales tax. Sure, it's raising 1%, but at the same time, while you're paying $11 for a $10 item, the millionaire is paying 1,100,000 for his yacht. He's paying his fair share, isn't he? $100,000 out of a million. That's a lot of fucking money. That's helping a lot. So I think there's a lot that can go into this to really benefit a lot of people. There's a lot of ways I think we can really help the poor. There's talks of making education a little more affordable. There's talks of other things. Let's stop devaluing education. Maybe allow education to be a little bit better. And that's the thing, is you raise minimum wage, raising minimum wage of federal and state employees and county employees, and that so your taxes are going to have to go up in order to keep up, or else we're going to continue to go into debt. There's even more than that. There's so much I think that can be done. And I literally lay out a very, very, very good plan, I think. A lot of good ideas. Some are conservative, some are progressive, but very much a libertarian concept. Let the government be. Let people be. Give them protections to do what the fuck they want. Find out what they value for themselves. What do I know? I'm just 23. I haven't thought about it for just a simple 5 seconds to get an emotional reaction. I don't have to just make a fair living wage and be a social justice warrior. No. I'm actually using my fucking head. I'm actually thinking. I'm questioning. I'm asking. That's what we don't do. Never think about things for more than 5 minutes. Like I said, we turn it into a 1 or 2 sentence little zinger. That's it. It's not what it should be. We should actually talk about things, actually discuss it, go into depth, try and understand. And sure, a lot of the things I probably proposed economically may not be great, but I'm pretty sure we could tweak it to actually make it work. There are things that we could definitely do to help other people, ways to make things easier. We're not going to. We don't like it. One, partisanship. My party says this, my party says that, my party says this, my party says that. We're too busy trying to blow our fucking parties and our respective stupid fucking bases. And yeah, I'll admit, the fucking bases are fucking stupid. There are a lot of voters out there that are idiotic. It's the way it is. You have the right to be stupid. But there are plenty of intelligent people. I run into every day. As much as I argue with idiots on social media, or maybe not so much idiots, people who sometimes I think let their intelligence go to waste for a few moments. They're pretty intelligent people. People I respect, people I look up to, people I look up to for different things or like to discuss things and ask their opinion on whose opinions I value. Occasionally, it seems they turn their brains off, which, again, we have the right to be stupid. I turn my brain off all the time. I'm able to make videos. But I meet a lot of people every day. They talk about things like this. We're intelligent. We can figure things out. We work things out together. So why not do that? Again, like I said, we need to have the discussion. Talk about it in the comments. Talk about it to each other. This is posted on social media. Discuss it. Retweet it. Talk about it. Talk about either one. We need to have the discussion. We need to think. We need to come up with better ideas. We can't just continue to throw money at solutions, at problems, and say it's a solution. That's not doing anything. You can't bandage a wound with money. You need to actually look into what's going on and fix it. And sure, you may have to do what you can with what limited supplies you've got. But there's more than one way to skin a cat. I just made a mess of proverbs. But anyway, there's multiple things we can do. There's more than one way to help. We can't just continue to just get upset, say one-liners, and be like, "Oh, I'm clever. I made up a one idea." No. We need to realize we live in the real world. We need to realize that we live in real life. We can't just imagine that raising minimum wage or forcing people to pray or, you know, outlawing abortion or outlawing guns or outlawing marijuana or building a fucking wall or whatever. We can't pretend that those are actually going to make a legitimate difference because they're not. Proven time and time again that prohibitive laws don't do anything. That just throwing money at a problem doesn't do anything. You actually need to look a little deeper. You need to think hard. And that's the thing. The people that we elect are supposed to do that. They're supposed to work hard for us. They're supposed to try. But they don't. Instead, like I said, get on their knees and suck the dicks of their respective parties. Sometimes they'll reach over and jerk the other one off too, to get a little bit of extra points. But that's all we do. That's all we've boiled everything down to. Again, with my other video, it's all about partisanship. And it's not. The budget shouldn't be partisan. Minimum wage or any economic problem should be partisan. Nothing should be partisan. That's all we ever want to do. Enough ranting, I guess. I made a two-parter, and I think this one's kind of gone on long enough. That's my thoughts on the issue. Like I said, I'm not against minimum wage. It's a great safety net. It's a great tool. But I think there are better ways to go about it than simply raising it up to double, over double the federal minimum wage. You're not going to help people. You're going to hurt people. Because the only people who can win are corporations. And that's what we're supposed to be going after. Hurting unions by taking away their bargaining power. And that's the thing, we are. Before I go, I want to talk about this. People say, "Oh, we'll raise minimum wage and then they can make a union." Well, how do you think you're going to make a union when you raise minimum wage? I say, I want to make a union and get paid $16 an hour. When you have people who were making $8, $9, $10 an hour who are happy to make 8 to 15, they're in the honeymoon stage of the change. They're happy to do that. Things are still adjusting. They haven't gotten bad yet. So they're going to say, "Oh, I've got 20 people. I'm more willing to do the jobs of you 20 people, $15 an hour. You've taken away the bargaining chip. You've taken away their cause. slap them on the hands, have them shown. You can't bet anymore. You're just hurting them. You want to appeal to emotion? That's the truth. But anyway, I didn't talk about emergency service personnel, the military. I think those are kind of fallacies in themselves. Sure, they deserve to be paid more, but don't use the fact that they deserve to be paid more as a reason to discredit the others who want to get paid more. And I support any any local group that whether it's at the state, county, or city level that wants to get paid more through their respective unions or just bargaining as a group of people, whether they form a union, official union or not. I support anyone who wants to form a union to get what they deserve because they should. That's what made America really great at the turn of the just after the turn of the 20th century. We started making unions. We started actually giving a shit about the middle class. We made a good middle class. We need to keep it. We can't let it slip. We can't fall back into socialism. We're not fall back into socialism, but fall into socialism. Fall into an economic dichotomy where it's just poor and rich. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. Like the video, of course. Like the last video as well, the part one. This is part two. And always please subscribe. I'm working on some other stuff too that's not political rant bullshit that you guys might actually enjoy. Um, hopefully you guys like that stuff. Hopefully it works out. So thank you very much for listening. I know I probably pissed a lot of people off, but no, I'm not doing this to try and tell you that you're an idiot or that you're wrong. I'm doing this to try and get other thoughts out there because I think we really can come to an actual good solution. And I see this as not being a good solution, but being one that will be more egregious than beneficial. Anyway, thank you all. Have a good night. Stay cool.